Hi guys, it's Amy here, and today I bring you a recommendations video. So I thought I'd start this series on my channel where I recommend various different books to you guys. So I'm going to do 5 books per video. Today I'm going to be doing classics for beginners. I do have a lot of other classics for videos planned because I have lots of recommendations for classics. If you guys have any requests for different genres you would like to see me recommend to you, do let me know down in the comments. So let's jump into today's video. I have 5 books to share with you. Let's go! So a reason why I think people are a little tentative towards reading classics is because they're scared of the size and the language and if it's going to be difficult to read or understand. And so today I've chosen 5 books that I feel like if you read them you wouldn't instantly think to yourself, this is a classic, I'm reading some really highbrow stuff here. Like, these things are easy to read, and sometimes I think you just need to take that step and realise that actually classics aren't as intimidating as they appear to be. So one of the things that I recommend highly to people who want to jump into classics is children's classics, because they are easy peasy to read. They are not difficult to understand in the slightest. So the first one that caught my eye on the shelf today was The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. Both books that I own by this author. The other one actually is just here, A Little Princess. Both I would highly recommend. The characters in these books are so endearing, so sweet, just addictive to read through, and I absolutely adore them. Both of these books centre around young girls who have been orphaned and end up having to go and live in different circumstances and make their way in the world, basically. They're both kind of coming of age and really beautifully told, and I would highly recommend. Second on my list is one that I don't actually own a copy of, but it is a brilliant book, and that is The Princess Bride by Goldman. In this video today I've tried to choose 5 different books that could appeal to many different people. This one is for those of you who enjoy a little bit of an adventure. This story is hilarious. The book is just genuinely one of the funniest classics I've ever picked up. As well as the book, there is also a hilarious film which I believe Goldman was on the kind of directors or wrote the script and everything for it as well, so they pair together brilliantly. It's basically a satirical kind of romance set in medieval kind of times with a woman who's kind of captured by the area's prince and she doesn't want to marry him at all, and there's a group of people who are trying to save her from this fate, and it's just brilliant. If you haven't read the book or seen the film, I would highly recommend both. For those of you looking for something maybe a little more literary that has various topics that it brings into light, I would highly recommend To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper. You guys have heard me speak about this one before. It's one of my all-time favourite books and I cannot recommend it enough. This one is set in the kind of deep south of America during the 1930s. What I love about this book is that even though it was written such a long time ago and it's set in such a different time and place to where I am now, it is still so relevant to things that are happening today in our world. It's got discussions on politics, rape, sexism, racism, men and women, coming of age, all of these different things which are so relevant. It just does it so perfectly. I cannot praise this book more than I do already. If you haven't read it already, go and pick it up as soon as you get the chance. Next, I have a recommendation for those of you who are more into sci-fi or apocalyptic type novels, dystopian and things like that. I would recommend The Day of the Triffids by Wyndham, or anything by Wyndham really. The Day of the Triffids is set in London just after a meteor type shower has gone over the UK, and our main character wakes up in hospital after having some sort of surgery to his eyes. So he had his face covered and he was completely unaware of this meteor shower going over the world. When he wakes up, he discovers that everyone who saw this meteor shower happen is now blind, and he discovers that he is one of the very few people remaining who are actually able to see. Not only is he having to combat the issues of living in a society that is now pretty much blind, there are also these things known as the Triffids, which are plant type things that are quite tall which attack these people that now cannot see. And so it brings up these discussions of humanity and what we would do if something like that happened, and if plants were able to take over the world, what would be needed for them to do something like that. Would it literally be just the eradication of people being able to see and defend themselves for something like a plant to be able to take over the world? It's really interesting, really brilliantly told. It's quite a short novel as well, so if you're, you know, looking for a classic but wanting something that's not, you know, 500 pages long, I'd highly recommend this one. And the final book that I have to recommend today is one that I feel anyone could enjoy. If you enjoy quiet, wonderfully told, beautiful, scenic books, then I think you would enjoy this one, and it is I Captured the Castle by Dodie Smith. The characters in this novel are perfect, the setting of it is wonderful, the whole thing is just so endearing and lovable. I just don't know how you could read this and not enjoy it. It basically follows a family who live in a dilapidated castle in the middle of the countryside. The place is falling down around them, and it's told through the perspective of the daughter of the family, who's called Cassandra. She illustrates the daily life of her family and their quirkiness and how they all get along together in this broken down castle. The kind of crux of the story is when the American owners of this castle come over to England, and whether this family are going to have to move out, and whether the two sisters in this family then get along with these American young men is all to be seen. It's a brilliant novel. I would highly recommend. So there we are. Those are the 5 classics I would recommend to beginners. Do let me know down below what books you would recommend to people starting out in classics. I would love to know. As always, I will leave links to Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, everything I've mentioned today down below. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you soon. Bye!